Even in Kenya, what you hear G2G, them saying they were paying through Kenya shillings. After 6 months, you still have to pay dollars. The long and short of it is that we expect nothing less than the government calling themselves to order, stopping those grandiose, ego-soothing meetings they are doing, and realize that Kenya is facing a crisis. And it's not the work of Kenyans to wake our leaders from slumber of wishes. They ought to know better. They come, serious meetings needs to happen. They need to write a bill as they did in 2023 when they were adding 8%. They need to do one urgently to cut VAT on fuel, additional 7 shillings that was added on fuel levy in 2024. And additionally, the greedy banks that participated in this illegal securitization a time has come for them to pay for their greed. They must give a moratorium in terms of the 7 shillings that they are now, which is 32 billion a year. A time has come for them to now book that money into their non-performing loans, because it will be a non-performing loan soon. It was illegal to securitize loans soon. It was illegal to securitize. The bank, everything that is profitable has also a pitfall of the current situation we are having today. So the same banks that celebrated in this illegal act of securitization, it is now time for them to pay for their greed. Very lastly, it is now an opportune time for Kenya to know this animal called G2G, what it is about. Because many colors are painted on this monster. The monster called G2G is just a cabal of patronage. And I want you to do your homework. Even Kenyans, please check the changes that even happened to the companies deal with G2G. And you realize it is all politics. After the reorganization of this government, what was shared was not just positions. It was also spoils. That is why you realize some companies were added who belong and are owned by political actors into G2G program after this current mongrel of a government. Why? It had nothing to do with dollars and fuel prices. It had everything to do with monopolizing the import of fuel in Kenya. And it is no coincidence that the same people who are the real owners of G2G companies, at the current oil prices in Kenya, taxes and levies constitute half of what Kenyans pay at the pump. You can imagine that. When you are spending 170 shillings per liter, half of that goes into taxes and levies. Landing cost is below 50% of what we pay. And it is that taxes and levies that has gotten an increase when the global and at the same time request the leadership of this country. You must stop all the meetings, your political meetings that are happening now. Gather and find a solution to the imminent supply chain disruption in fuel in Kenya. and the imminent price disruptions in Kenya. And I want to say this without batting of an eye, that Kenyans are not going to accept if we still have VAT capped at 16% of fuel, and if we still have the 7 shillings being collected by government. That the government must do immediately without waiting is that the same way they added the 7 shillings of fuel levy through a gazette notice, now a time has come for them to reciprocate to Kenyans. Kenyans have been paying this additional VAT for the last 3 years. Kenyans have been paying the additional fuel levy for the last many months when the global oil prices were falling. Now that there is a reversal of that, it is now on the side of government to also reciprocate by cutting VAT from the current 16% to even 0, and also thinking about how to denounce and recede the 7 shillings fuel levy that was added in the year 2024. That has to happen. And because many times we talk to these guys in government and they think that we are only talking to criticize, I want to tell them that the best advice they have had in this.
Excellency kiata neguo kana tiguo ofisi ĩyo nĩ yanyu inyuothe ndirenda mũthiage hau mwĩandĩkithie nĩgetha kĩama gĩkĩ gitũ kĩgĩe na andũ ũguo nĩguo mũkwenda nĩ mũkwĩandĩkithia tũtikĩra Kũbai athiage kagatia Thank you. Asante sana, Mungu awabariki. Haya, pia tuko na mama anaitwa Ruth Wangare Kifodho, pia anataka kuwa MP wa Kangema.
Oyo no Wangare wa Kifodho ndekaire tukanyu ndemogiginyani wagetekia Kangema kya MP na no njere no nyende kwira baba witũ Rigathi no ena funguro cia kuingira mauti Kenya. Mundu wothe ukwenda kuingira Murang'a na kuingira mauti Kenya atari na funguro cia Rigathi tutikamwitikiria. Harambe na niĩ no nyende bado kuga wona ndathie kũrĩa bunge niĩ ndikamũconora na ndikauga thĩna mũingĩ wa Kangema atĩ nĩ wĩra wa moko twakĩrwo nyũmba cia hausi cia itonga. Niĩ ngauga atĩrĩrĩ twakĩrwo kĩganda kĩa makondo na makandamia ciana citũ cione mawĩra ũtorĩa cionaga kwa njire. Harambe mũrathimwo nĩ Ngai kĩama nĩ DCP na ngathe Kifodho tugaga wĩra wĩke Ngai amũrathime.
Haya, tuko pia na Kamau Wairore anataka
Look at that pump. Learn from the best. Always room for improvement.
La Lidl ai bormașină cu acumulator și încărcător la doar 129.
Ako wapi John? Nĩtũgakorwo na free and fair nomination nĩguo mũnengera mũndũ ũyũ ũcio wĩra nĩ wanyu nĩguo. Haya, tuko na kiti ya women rep. Ithuĩ tũtiraingata maboco twanjie gũcaria maitũ wa county tuikate moito wa county. Haya, tuanze hapo. Liz, unasema jina yako na kiju na
Andũ a Kangema mũrĩega. Harambe andũ a Kangema mũrĩega. Niĩ njĩtagwo Liz Mũthoni wa Mbũgua na niĩ thurĩtwo wondi ĩtagwo Kĩnyona. Ndoka mũthenya wa ũmũthĩ kũmũhoya wĩra wa maitũ wa county 2027. Ndĩramũhoya na gĩtĩo mũhe kura cianyu tũcokie riri wa Murang'a na Liz. Andũ aitũ ndĩmwĩre Your Excellency banga na wa maboco agabanga gũthiĩ kũhũra rĩgathi. Mũthenya ũyũ ũngĩ wa maboco agatũrehera mboco. Nĩ mũgwĩtĩkĩra kũmũingata? Nĩ mũkũmũinũkia? Nĩ mũkũhe kura cianyu?
Thank you.
Ndĩramũhoya na gĩtĩo kĩnire mheshimiwa rĩgathi nĩ njamba na tũtirĩ twakorwo na njamba ta gĩtungati gitũ. Ndamũhoya hinya ũrĩa tũngĩmũhe na nĩgetha akorwo na mũgambo mũnene nĩ kũmũthurĩra MCA wa DCP, governor wa DCP, mama county wa DCP, women rep na nĩwe Liz Muthoni wa Mbũgua wa DCP.
Asante.
Na kũu kũngĩ Ngai witũ amũrathime na mwĩke wega nĩ ndĩmwendete.
Thank you. Next.
Harambe! Harambe! Kasongo ende asiende? Atembe asitembe? Niĩ njĩtagwo Puragia Muthoni na gwitũ nĩ gũkũ Mathioya harĩa Gĩtugĩ. Ndĩnyihĩtie mũno ngamũhoya ingĩtĩkĩrĩka maitho-inĩ manyu ma andũ a Mũrang'a mũkahe ndĩmũtungate ndĩ maitũ wanyu wa kaunti. Na ndĩrahoya atĩrĩrĩ, wabici ũyũ twĩkĩre mũtumia mũgima, mũtumia mwendi Ngai, mũtumia mwĩnyihia na ndikamũconora. Athuri a Mũrang'a, athuri a Mũrang'a, ndikamũconora.
Asante.
Ndikamũconora. Na nĩguo ndĩrauga tũcagũre mũtumia na tiũngene Puragia maitũ wa kaunti.
Thank you.
Twĩ hamwe andũ aitũ. Harambe!
Asante.
Harambe! Thank you, thank you.
Haya, next.
Andũ akangĩ mamũrĩega. Harambe! Harambe! Mimi ndiye Mama Sako. Njĩtagwo Mama Sako na ndĩ gũkũ Kangĩma ndĩ mũciĩ tondũ andũ a Kangĩma mũrĩ andũ a goro. 2017 Mama Sako nĩarũgamĩtie gĩtĩ kĩa maitũ wa kaunti mũkĩhe kura makĩria ma 70,000 na nĩ njokete rĩngĩ nĩ tondũ andũ a Mũrang'a nĩtũcambithĩtio nĩ wa maboco. Nĩguo kana tiguo? Nĩ tigũte wa maboco nĩ gũte kana tigũte? Ni one time si one time.
Asante.
Ni one time si one time.
Thank you.
Raunie Mama Sako thĩinĩ wa kĩama kĩa DCP ndĩramũhoya mũkanyitĩrĩra 2027 tũke tũgarũrĩre tũgĩe mũtumia ũrĩa tũheaga gĩtĩo, mũtumia mũgĩkũyũ ũrĩa wekunĩra kanua ithĩgĩ na tũgĩe mũtumia ũrĩa heaga kanitha wa Ngai gĩtĩo. Kĩama nĩ DCP na ithuĩ tũraiga baba witũ nĩ Rigathi wa Gachagua na hau tũtikuma. Harambe!
Asante.
Harambe!
Thank you.
Mama Sako, Mama County, DCP.
Thank you. Haya, next.
Hi. Watu wa Kangema, hi. Harambe! Harambe! Ate turacambia tukiragwo ati kiama giki gitu nĩ gĩa kabira. Tarekei ndĩmũiyĩre thiri. Gĩkĩ kĩama gitu ti ngari. Ĩno nĩ mũgithi. Mũgithi ndũiyũraga no gũthiĩ ũthiaga ũkĩongagĩrĩrwo makũmbĩ. Ũguo gũtirĩ kũndũ tũtarenda mũrũgami. Kũndũ guothe mũndũ wothe arenda. Gĩkĩ nĩ kĩama kĩa bũrũri wa Kenya. Gĩkĩ ti kĩama kabira. Na nĩkĩo ndĩroiga atĩrĩrĩ 2027 tũroiga kaba kagĩna nĩgetha acokie gĩtĩo kĩa Mũrang'a. Rekei tũcokie gĩtĩo kĩa Mũrang'a ũrĩa twaũnĩte manyũmba kũrĩa Nairobi. Reke tũcokie gĩtĩo kĩu gitũ. Rĩu tũtharaũrĩtwo nĩ tondũ tũtirarĩ na ngari. Ndamũhoya andũ a Kangĩma 2027 tũthure mũtumia wĩna gĩtĩo na nĩkĩo tũroiga kaba kagĩna.
Asante. Haya, next. Nĩ mũkamata ithorana.
Asante. Thank you. Thank you. Aciari anake Letekia Women Rep, Murang'a County. Kidakia mbere ndena kioria mwekadi. Neko mukonyitira bauja the. Ndena kioria kenge. Nemorada modo. Akomotaithia ate ciana cithie thukuru. Ate biashara cianyu cirogame. Ate thibitari cirute wera. Ndehaha mukauga wanjege.
Thank you.
Naticiugo. Necieko. Itiguo. Harambe.
Asante.
Harambe.
Thank you. Haya. Next. MCA akaribie, MCA wa area.
Asante na andũ a mũciĩ mũrĩega, andũ a Kangema mũrĩega. Asanteni sana andũ a mũciĩ mũrĩega. Ĩno nĩ Kangema ya John Njoroge wa Mĩcuki. Gũkũ nĩ Kangema kũrĩa ithuĩ tũheanaga gĩtĩo. Gũkũ nĩ Kangema kũrĩa twaragia kiugo kĩmwe. Ithuĩ kũrĩa twaragia kiugo kĩmwe. Ithuĩ tũtikararanagia, tũciraga cira ũmwe matua atĩ mũndũ wothe ũkenda gũtwarĩria no agereire harĩ rigiti. Nĩ ũroma nĩ tũtuĩte matua atĩ ithuĩ na njiarwa citũ tũgũtũra tũrũmĩrĩire rigiti na ithuothe tũrĩ a kĩama gĩake kĩa DCP. Wacha nione watu ya rigiti.
Asante. Thank you.
Your Excellency.
Thank you.
Nikubarisha ya mwisho. Hii ni nyumbani kwa Kamaro. Na Kamaro alisema na ninataka munisaidie. Adwaito mutikorwa neinya. Kidoke omane uthigu wa mweda wakayaro menyambo. Hinya wito umaga kore gai. Ale atogore umaga kore gai. Ale atogore tiamatigiora gekoyo. Nane 7 Kamoroga merera na giteo andũ aitũ.
Haya, asante.
Mũthikagĩrĩria, asante.
Haya. Tuko na MCA wa Mogoro Ward, Stephen Doche, MCA wa area. Alafu wale wanataka viti ya MCA.
Alabe! Alabe! Asante sana Your Excellency Rigathi Gachagua kwa kukuja hapa Mogoro. Sisi tumesema chama yetu ni ya DCP. Tumekubali hivyo na nikimalizia tumesema maneno ya Kasoko aende asiende. Kasoko aende asiende. Asante sana Your Excellency na uko karibu hapa Mogoro tena na tena. Asante sana.
Asante. Haya, Kangema hoye. Kangema hoye. Sasa tupatie wale wanataka kiti ya MCA, si ndio? Haya, tuko na Penina Muragori.
Yes. Yeah, good. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Arabe! Yes. Ogwo nĩguo tũrauga gũkũ. Kangema Mogoro Ward tũrauga nĩ one term. Etiguo. Mũnene witũ Gĩtungati 001 Bwana Gachagua, His Excellency. Ogwo nĩguo gũkũ kũhana. Nĩmetĩkĩrĩte Kangema na DCP. Noguo nĩguo tũrauga. Tũtirĩ na kĩama kĩngĩ kĩrathikĩrĩria mwananchi wa kawaida tiga DCP. Etiguo.
Asante.
Arabe!
Thank you.
Mogoro Ward twĩna mũtumia ũrarutĩra andũ wĩra tionge no Penina Muragori.
Thank you, Penina. Haya, Kangema hoye. Tuko na Ibrahim Gundo.
Arabe! Thank you, Mono. Andũ a Kangema. Thank you, Mono. Arabe! Nĩ inyuĩ andũ a Kangema. mokiri oguo munyite rigiji twena rigiji na gudo kiamana DCP gudo Janeti na rigiji. Karibu sana hapa kwa hoteli ya Badia, enda ukunywe chai pale.
Thank you. Haya, Kagema hoi, Kagema hoi. Twena Munyaka wa Ngure.
Aya, rĩu gũtirĩ ũndũ ta nganja ka wa kĩrĩma nĩ rigathi wa Gachagua, no ũyũ nĩwe wĩna ũmenyo, ũyũ nĩwe wĩna bunguro cia kũingĩra kĩrĩma gĩothe. Othe kanini na kanene makiuga Kasongo nene, makiuga Kasongo nĩ one term, athiriti ake othe nĩ one term, na mũno makĩria MCA wa gũtam, othe makiuga mũndũ ũrĩa mwagĩrĩru nĩ wa gũtam, othe makiuga mũndũ ũrĩa mwagĩrĩru nĩ Munyaka wa Ngure, arehe Munyaka mũgũrũ nĩgetha tũthondeke wĩra. Your Excellency, ndagĩka ĩmwe, niĩ ndĩ mũndũ ũrĩa ũthikagĩrĩria ground mathaa matatũ o mũthenya kũrĩa kwa nyũmba, mathaa matatũ o mũthenya kũrĩa kwa nyũmba itũ TV. Njĩtĩkĩria ngũmenyithie ground itũ TV, njĩtĩkĩria ngũmenyithie ground ũrĩa ĩhana, na ground ĩrauga nĩ one term, na twĩ haha gũtigĩrĩra ground yothe wĩra ũrĩa warutĩte wa gũtetera arĩmi aitũ nĩ ngũka nawe ũtindĩke tondũ nĩwe the six. Munyaka wa Ngure one term.
Thank you. Wa mwisho Muchiri Gateru. Muchiri Gateru.
Harambe! Harambe! Nĩ Muchiri Gateru na ndĩrenda gĩtĩ kĩa MCA Mũgũrũ ward. Ũndũ wa kerĩ nĩ kwenda
Endelea.
kwĩra inyuĩ mwĩta aciari nĩ thengio nĩ gũtũrora ithuĩ twĩ ta majenzi nĩ ma.
Thank you.
Na rĩta rĩrĩ twauga tũtiratigwo thutha, ithuĩ nĩ ithuĩ tũrabangana.
Asanti. Warwathi ya Kagori.
Kagema oye! Kagema oye! Kagema oye! Andũ a Kagema nĩ ngatho nĩ ũndũ wa gũtũhumba riri na gĩtĩo, mũkaweroka kĩama kĩa DCP na mũnene wa kĩrĩma. Nĩ mwamwamũkĩra? Nĩ mwamwamũkĩra? Rigijia! 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 Mũnene, andũ acio makũhe gacũrũ, atumia acio makũhe gacũrũ nĩ agwakwa rwathia, na ũngĩmathondeka no njigue wega. Ndĩ mwĩra andũ a Kagema nĩ ndĩramakire mũno mũthenya wa Sunday. MP witũ arathiĩ gũcokeria metho tondũ metho nĩ arire president Kagema twĩna mathĩna maingĩ mũno. Nĩ harĩa president tũthondete kanya tũmwĩre baratike ti njega gatiguo. So andũ a Ngai mũtiramena kũnyitĩrĩra rigatho wa Gachagua na make sure kĩama nĩ DCP.
Harambe! Harambe! Ndĩrenda mũndeithie ndagweta mũkanjokeria Robert tu nĩguo mũtumia mũrogi, mũtumia wa mĩthaiga, mũtumia wĩ kanua kanene. Nyonia you want time ya beti want time ya beti want time ya beti kaundu kau kage mundu gwitwo Kubai. Thank you. Hamare to mako njitagwo ndagĩtarĩ Mwangi na thuretwo wodi angĩenda na niĩ beti etĩte kĩhĩ no ndĩkĩrĩ mũru andũ a Ngai. Thank you. Ngai wa mũrathime. Asanteni sana.
Haya. MCA wa Mbiri Biri.
Andũ a Kagema Ngai nĩ mwega. Harambe! Niĩ ona ngũmwĩra tu kaũndũ kamwe njuge harĩ tũiguaga Kagema
tukamenya ni mwaciarire na mukirera njamba hindira twari na mbunge wanyu wetagwo Micuki ni mukuririkana andu aitu nie kiria wendete ni tumwihokete na ni tuinyui ni murerete atongoria njamba ni murerete atongoria ega atongoria mana atongoria bururi uyu witu 2027 mugatuthurira njamba thiini wa kiama gitu kia DCP ngai amurathime na mukona muthenya.
Haya, MCAs wa Kanyanyaine unasimama jina, unasema jina yako kitu unatafuta na usipitishe hapo, sema jina.
Akama hoye Kanyanyaine hoye Batia Kaji MCA Kanyanyaine Ward 2027.
Thank you. Next, Kanyanyaine. Jina na kiti.
Arambe mwa getungati na mutongoria wa ruriri jetagwo Macario wa Gatito ndirarugama MCA Kanyanyaine Ward na ndina ngeithi cia America kuma kwa Alex Mutonyi.
Carrefour prezintă Paștele pe gustul tuturor.
Haya. MCA Munga pia ukaribia hapo.
Arambe! Jezi mpo! Mko kadi! Jetagwo QS kele ni rogo na ndiraruga makete kia MCA Kanyanyaine Ward.
Thank you.
Tuko nyuma ya
Harambe! Jetagwo muhia wa Kihanga kuma kuria Kanyanyaine rigathe urage nyoka na ni ondigera matumbe demorage. Asanteni sana one time.
Asante.
Jetagwo Munga MC wa Muraradia. Your Excellency rigathe wewe mwana wa Maumau na ithwe Gen Z twitocukuru twa Maumau tugunyugunyitirira. Asante sana.
Wapi ile msanii akerenyaga na ile wa Korino? Wapi ile msanii wa Kirinyaga akaribia na ile wa Korino?
Sema hoye. Hoye. Mimi ndio Duchiduo ndasimama kiti ya MCA hapa Mogoro. Sio huyu Mose. Asanteni sana.
Asante. Patia haya huyu wa mwisho alafu huyo msanii.
Arabe. One gareja yem ndirarugama MCA kuria Kanyanyaine.
Thank you. Wapi huyo msanii? Huyo msanii. Ako wapi huyo msanii? Ile ya Kirinyaga. Ako wapi? Haya.
Harambe wagio wito tondo ne togie tokoigana e muthuri uyu twambarariria githamaka na nguona bangite gutigerera ne twahuka twiihuria kimera tuthiete no nginya kainuka na totire thwiki tunare gathe wa Gachagua nige tungati mundore bata na ruriri na atwekire koyotera oiguata nguthiururuka bururi uyu agema kiraga aria makinyetie miaka yakwa ya ibandi rimwe nari tukeheria wathani uyu wa githuri na totire thwiki tunare gathe wa Gachagua nige tungati mundore bata na ruriri na ngiuga niguthie wendoi gucoka na thutha 2020 cugo ihe mundu tukainukia atwekire koyuteragwo ni murete ni bururi andu hothe Kenya yaruma muingi mano gukaya na keno ciraniro ni mete ngai tahingaga korono njurio no njugire ni munene wa maheni.
Asante.
na totire thwiki tunare gathe wa Gachagua nige tungati mundure bata na ruriri na ngiuga niguthie wendoi.
Haya. Kuria Korino maretetwo kuria ni tiguo. Acio matirari ama twina Korino aria ega aruriri reke matwinira. Haya wa Korino hawa.
Kagama hoye getungati gitu he ithuĩ tũrĩ a Korino arĩa matũreaga ihaki arĩa matangĩendia rũrĩrĩ na arĩa matangĩoya ngiri ithatũ nĩ tondũ ithuĩ twĩ thutha wa gĩtungati Rigathĩ wa Gachagua. Tũkwenda kũina rwĩmbo tu, tũinyoka rwĩmbo hanini tu na mũcoki atĩrĩrĩ, nĩ gũthura ruo, sema hivyo. Twokĩrire tene, twokĩrire tene, twokĩrire tene, twokĩrire tene, twokĩrire tene, tũgĩthura ruo, tũgĩthura ruo, tũgĩthura ruo, rĩu no kũhara, rĩu no kũhara, tũtigacokera, tũtigacokera, gĩkomba rĩu gũtirĩ, gĩkomba gũtirĩ, gĩkomba gũtirĩ, nĩ gũthura ruo, gũthura ruo, baba nĩatwĩrĩte tũkĩmũkararia tũgĩthura ruo, tũgĩthura ruo, tũgĩthura ruo, rĩu kũrĩra, rĩu no kũrĩra, rĩu no kũrĩra. Sugoi Express hamwe na arĩa mamumaga thutha, Kasongo aende pamoja na wao.
Thank you. Kagema hoi. Andũ aitũ nĩ ndakena mũno nĩ wendo ũrĩa mwatwonjera gũtũthikĩrĩria nĩguo nĩrĩũka rĩngĩ nĩ mũrĩũka kũnjerera wa Munyoro nĩ mũrĩũka wa Munyoro mũgoka rĩ andũ ndamwĩra mũkarehwo nũ Asanteni sana watu wetu, thank you very much. Mwathani amũrathime na mwĩke wega, nĩ twakena mũno, asanteni sana.
The subsidy that was provided through the Fuel Stabilization Fund the fuel crisis. The fact that we had to postpone offering solutions up to yesterday evening, almost at midnight, just shows how casually the government has been taking this matter. So, as I talk about these three proposals, I request those who are concerned, this is not the time to chest dump and show Kenyans who knows what more than who. It is the time to present credible solutions to the issue that is the Kenyans are grappling with today. The number one proposal that I have, and wholesomely, the practical proposal we have can reduce fuel prices by 27 shillings today without hurting anyone. One is that we need to reduce our VAT by an extra 5% now. And that extra VAT of 5% will mean that our fuel prices will go down by, on that segment alone, by around 8 shillings. The second proposal is that we need to de-gazette the 7 shillings that was added on fuel levy. It was done through a gazette notice by the Minister for Transport. The same way, he needs to give a gazette notice today, before the close of today. That will also bring down the fuel prices by an extra 7 shillings, close to 20 billion Kenya shillings as we talk. And this is not money that has been budgeted for. This is money that Kenyans pay in the pump. As you go to fuel your car, it is the Kenyans who have been funding the Fuel Stabilization Fund. And my proposal is that we need to provide an extra 5 billion shillings from the fuel consumption of around 400 million liters of diesel and petrol per month it means that will amount to around 12 shillings per litre. Adding those three elements, specifically reducing VAT by an extra 5%, that gives an extra, reducing fuel levy by around 7 shillings, and also offering an additional subsidy of 5 billion shillings from Fuel Stabilization Fund. That also means around 12 shillings per litre. Wholesomely, we can be able of fuel today by 27 shillings. And what that is likely to do is that we are going to arrest the very many spiraling effects that will happen starting today. Reckless decision that was made by government yesterday. And Kenyans need to realize this. The proposals I have given, I'm not even requesting the government to do anything. Kenyans are just saying the levies and taxes where you got them. That's what the people of Kenya are saying. The additional 8% VAT was added by this regime in 2023. The additional 7 shillings in fuel levy was added by this regime in the year 2024. The money that is coming from Fuel Stabilization Fund. It is not money that they have generated. It is money that has been contributed by the Kenyan people in the last several months. So what we are asking is simple. Just take the levies and taxes where you got. And if that happens, Kenyans are not going to pay more in the pump as it happened yesterday. So Kenyans are not requesting the government to do anything. They are just demanding that the government takes the taxation and levies to the level they got them. If they only do that, there is reprieve in the pump as the starting point. Then after doing that, in the medium term, we should now be looking at how to tax exempt the fuel products. We at least take our VAT to zero in the intermediate period. Because the issue we are dealing with is not long term. How we saw even during the Russia and Ukraine issue is that this issue doesn't take too long. Then we end up hurting our economy for the rest of the year. I don't think we need to do that. Kenya has resources to be able to arrest this matter when we can arrest it. The other issue that Kenyans the price in the year 2022 than they are now. Actually, in May of 2022, a barrel of oil topped around $115 per barrel. It is definitely higher than the $98 per barrel it is trading today. But fuel prices never exceeded 160 shillings for petrol and around 140. So this is simple arithmetic. The global oil prices were higher in 2022 at around 150.
Realitate alături de Cupa României. Iar victoria e răsplata celor care rămân mereu împreună. Timișoara, 20 aniversare Cupa României.
And even when we compare the regional prices, and especially Kenya being a home of a port, and Kenya having means like Fuel Stabilization Fund, which is funded by Kenyans, it is not
Hamjambo, lakini inaonekana kila mtu ana sikukamilisha my sentence deliberately. Ladies and we are here today to issue a very important statement. Taarifa ambayo ataisoma ndugu yetu Mheshimiwa Rigathi wa Gachagua, kwa sababu hivi ninavyozungumza Wakenya wana huzuni mkubwa sana. Unajua huku tulikuwa tukisema jamaa huyo aende one term, lakini wanaulizana itafikika. Kwa hivyo we propose that we will have the statement delivered by the Honorable Rigathi Gachagua on our behalf, and we thereafter will have our colleagues issue one or two extra comments. Of the intensity of this statement, we would recommend that we do not have even supplementary questions, because I think you all need to chew this. We all need to chew. Your audience, which is the Kenyan people, we need also to chew exactly what we are going to issue today from the command center. Karibu sana, ndugu Rigiji.
Thank you very much. This is a press statement by the United Alternative Government on the fuel scandal in our country, Kenya. Patriotic Kenyans, today we wish to draw the attention of Kenyans to one of the greatest fuel scandals in the history of independent Kenya. We have deliberately taken time to look into the oil in the hope that the government of President William Ruto would be kind to the people of Kenya and further agony. Little was it forgotten to us that Kenyans are on their own, and the entire energy value chain is completely a criminal enterprise under William Ruto. We wish to state as follows. On Thursday, the 2nd of April 2026, Kenyans were treated to dramatic arrests of former PA State Department of Petroleum, Mr. Mohamed Liban, Mr. Daniel Kipto, former DG EPRA, and Mr. Joe Sang, former MD, Kenya Pipeline. On 4th April 2026, a public statement made by William Ruto meant to hoodwink and fool the people of Kenya. He argued that oil cartels had been crushed to a halt. Further, he strongly stated as follows, that the international oil companies, IOCs, had not declared their inability to perform their obligations. There was official communication requesting a contract review and price adjustment following the Middle East crisis. The other trio had resigned, yet they were forced to resign during the Easter weekend while still under be charged in a court of law for various offenses. The three international oil companies, IOCs, in the so-called G2G arrangements are Aramco, they supply diesel and super petrol; Abu Dhabi National Oil Company, ADNOC, they supply diesel and fuel; and Emirates National Oil Company, ENOC, they supply super petrol. These IOCs supply and distribute through 6 hand-picked local oil marketing companies. But what was being hidden from the public was the real culprits of this scandal. The team leader of this oil scandal is William Ruto, and Petroleum, Mr. Opiyo Wandayi. And a local company, which is a nominee of the international oil companies IOCs awarded under the SOC Iran. William Ruto saw a big business opportunity to fleece Kenyans, as he has always done. Kenyans will recall the Brazil maize scandal of 2009 when William Ruto was the Minister for Agriculture, and he was fired by the then Prime Minister. You can't change the character of a man. In the so-called G2G arrangement, Gulf Energy, William Ruto's proxy, via a letter dated 21st March 2026, addressed the then PS State Department of Petroleum, Mr. Liban Mohammed, confirmed their inability to supply fuel and triggered a delivery default. Note that Gulf Energy supplies 4 out of 6, or 67% of the monthly fuel cargoes, leaving the other 5 oil marketing companies to supply the balance of 20%, or 2 cargoes imported under the so-called G2G framework. Since the IOCs in the so-called G could not evacuate fuel through Strait of Hormuz and had communicated their inability to perform their contractual obligations, triggering a delivery default. The 3 government officers invoked relevant provisions of the Petroleum Importation Regulations 2023 and implemented a government directive issued by the National Security Council Committee via a letter dated 9th March 2026, reference number OP CAB 3/55A, to explore and implement strategies to diversify petroleum import sources beyond single region, reducing dependency and enhancing national energy security. As such, the above decision was implemented. On 18th March 2026, which was chaired by one Joseph Wafula, was held to review the supply position and replenishment plan. The meeting was attended by 13 local oil marketing companies. During this meeting, it was recognized that there is a likely shortage or supply of petroleum products, and in accordance with Clause 21, Petroleum Import Regulations 2023, the 13 oil marketing companies were invited to submit an expression of interest for the emergency supply of contingency fuel stocks for delivery on or before 28th to 30th March 2026. It is important to note that only 4 of the 13 oil marketing companies submitted their bids within the stated timeframe. The awards for the supply of emergency contingency stocks was duly awarded to the 2 lowest technically compliant, with the condition that the supply required a quality waiver from Kenya National Bureau of Standards, KEBS. Note this was also in line with Clause 8.1 Petroleum Import Regulations 2023, an international best practice as seen in other countries who had relaxed fuel specifications following the effects of the Middle East crisis. Subsequently, via a letter dated 28th March 2026, reference MITI/CS/Volume 1/Waiver Number 3, signed by Honorable Lee Kenyanjui, CS Minister of Investment, Trade and Industry, addressed to the Honorable P.O. Wandai, granted waiver for oxygenates, manganese, sulfur, and benzene parameters in the KSES 158/2025. The following companies were awarded, who are the 2 lowest bidders. 1, petroleum contingency cargoes with delivery dates on or before 30th March 2026. Their supply position was to provide fuel cover for 2 weeks, thus ensuring product availability during the Easter holidays. But where is the mischief of the oil cartels? William Ruto was well appraised of all these processes and procedures. All the directives were issued by the National Security Council Committee, chaired by Head of Public Service Felix Koskei, Ruto's errand boy. After William Ruto got a brief that Gulf Energy's bid was knocked out on technical grounds and the competitors had gotten their letters of award, he issued clear instructions that Gulf Energy process and awarded with immediate effect. Gulf Energy submitted their bids 3 days later, on 23rd March 2026, after the awards had been executed. Their delivery was for the 8th to 15th April 2026, which was 10 days past the preferred date of 28th March to 2nd April 2026. The bid of Gulf Energy was rejected by the Vessel Alignment Committee. State applies 80% of monthly cargoes. He exercised political power. Characteristic of him, this is when the head started rolling. He knew that he had lost profit worth billions of shillings. Through a remarkable architecture, conman attitude, William Ruto orchestrated a terrible propaganda that the fuel supplied was substandard despite the comprehensive compliance due process followed by the gallant then government officers. To date, the three arrested Kenyans, PS Liban, DG EPRA and MD Kenya Pipeline Company, have had no charges preferred on them. Why? They had no case to answer as they followed and applied the law strictly. The real culprits in this scandal are William Ruto and his broad-based expert, the Honorable Opiyo Wandayi. Concurrently and maliciously, on the night of 5th and 6th April 2026, as this drama was being executed, William Ruto dispatched a high-power delegation led by CS Wandayi, Acting CEO EPRA, Engineer Joseph Okech, and other senior government officials together with Gulf Energy to renegotiate new pricing with the international oil companies, whose nominated agent is Gulf Energy, a proxy of William Ruto. These prices were negotiated in Dubai, and if you recall, that is why Opiyo Wandayi was not available when he was summoned by Parliament, as he was negotiating these prices in Dubai to take into consideration the profit of William Ruto increase of 40, because I had information from the team that was negotiating in Dubai on behalf of William Ruto and his people. Following the April 14, 2026 price adjustment, Mr. William Ruto will earn a profit of Kenya shillings 5 per every litre consumed by the people of Kenya, or the equivalent of 2.5 billion Kenya shillings, from the 500 million litres to be supplied for the region's consumption. Exception of the so-called G2G agreement, Mr. William Ruto has earned a cool 30 billion shillings in profit from the supply of petroleum products to the region. During the COVID pandemic period and the onset of the Ukraine-Russian war, the then government of the day took measures to cushion the welfare of citizens, whereas today the William Ruto regime has taken advantage of the Middle East crisis to load their profit on the local palm price to the detriment of Kenyan citizens. We have one question to ask William Ruto. The emergency contingency stocks were procured in accordance with the Petroleum Act 2019. They were done in accordance with the Petroleum Import Regulations 2023, the Open Tender Agreement Terms and the Kenya Bureau of Standards waiver, and the Kenya National Security Council Committee resolutions issued on 9th March 2026. What crime have these three officers committed? Therefore, then, we demand as follows. Mr. William Ruto, leave being on top of the vehicles, as you have always done to lecture the people of Kenya for the future. Mr. William, this is the time Kenyans are demanding that you immediately stop living your dream and utopia and face reality and put Wanjiku first. Mr. William Ruto, you must immediately direct the Speaker of the National Assembly. You have been a special sitting of Parliament within 7 days to address the following urgent issues, failure to which the United Government shall call for national mass action. 1, to cancel the so-called government-to-government petroleum framework, hard-picked oil marketing companies that represent the William Ruto interests. In any case, the commercial frameworks between William Ruto and private international companies. We want to explain that this is not government to government. This is government companies in the Middle East working with William Ruto and his proxies. In normal circumstances, if it was government to government, these Middle East companies would be working either with NOC or with the Kenya Pipeline Company, not private companies owned by William Ruto. So there is nothing like government to government deal. It is government to William Ruto, proxies and companies. We unequivocally demand for the immediate resignation, execution of the CS for Energy and Petroleum, Mr. Opiyo Wandayi, for the fuel scandal and lying under the oath to the National Assembly Committee. We also of Lee Kenyanjui for being complicit and being part of this scandal. We want to ask to suspend the implementation of the National Infrastructure Fund and use the proceeds collected from the sale of equity in Safaricom PLC and Kenya Pipeline Corporation to cushion wananchi from the adverse effects of the April 2026 historic fuel price adjustment. On taxation relief to Kenyans, we demand the suspension of the road maintenance levy that was increased from 18 shillings to 25 shillings per every. We also demand the suspension of the affordable housing levy. We also demand the suspension of unwarranted NSSF deductions that are punitive and are used to finance President William Ruto's single-sourced infrastructure projects. We also demand that Parliament remove VAT on fuel products. We are saying on behalf of the people of Kenya that that is a reducible minimum. And if there is no action taken on the part of William Ruto, we shall announce further measures to the people of Kenya to force William Ruto to act in the best interest of the people of Kenya. Thank you.
Well, there we go. Tomorrow, I will be in the High Court at Milimani dealing with this other state capture matter of the sale of Safaricom shares to Vodacom, itself a foreign company. So although in our statement we have highlighted that proceeds out of that sale, I want to announce that that is contested and will be in court tomorrow. So we will now invite our brother JB Muturi to give some highlight, make some further comments, and after that we'll have brother Fred Matiang'i, and finally Eugene Wamalwa will make the final comments. JB.
Thank you. I just want to state further that in our call to William Ruto to ask his proxy, Moses Wetangula, to convene a special sitting, we are cognizant of the fact that the House is still sitting. But we are saying that this is the right time, if it has any interest at all about the welfare of the people of Kenya, because we know the revenue and expenditure estimates, what we call the budget estimates, will be tabled before the House of Parliament not later than 30th of this month. And therefore, our call for a special sitting and for the removal of VAT and the suspension and or total exclusion of the extra 7 shillings charged should be at this time and be considered during this special sitting because the ramifications of this historic and abnormal increase in the cost of fuel effected last night are enormous, and the implications will spread to all sectors of our national economy and affect the socio-economic fabric of this country. In conclusion, I just want to amplify the point raised in our statement that indeed, as Kenyans would recall, when William Ruto took over the reins of government in 2022, is when immediately after he had made several promises that we needed to address the issue of the many taxes in the fuel sector. And many Kenyans will recall that he never shied to criticize the former administration. He said, he offered that there will be. Therefore, every Kenyan felt that when he came up with the idea of a G2G arrangement, he was indeed going to address that issue of the mini taxes. The matter did come to me as Attorney General of the Republic, brought to me by the CS then, Davis Churchill, the chairman of the Presidency Council of Economic Advisors, David D., and one of the other advisors, Mr. Hassan Mohammed. But I just raised one question. Yes, Saudi Aramco is owned by the Saudi government. It is therefore a government company. ADNOC is owned by the Abu Dhabi government. ENOC is owned by the Emirates. So indeed, it's just an acronym. So I raise the issue. If it's going to be a government to government, what is the government on the Kenyan side? And of course, the excuses were used that, there was a pressure on the Kenyan shilling because the oil marketing companies were demanding not less than 500 million shillings every month to import fuel into the country. Now the arrangement was that Kenya was going to be given a 6 months window before paying for the fuel that will have been delivered. But surprisingly, the government of Kenya chose not to use the government-owned National Oil Corporation, NOC, company, KPC, to represent government on the Kenyan side so that the equation makes sense when you talk about G to G. Instead, the government of Kenya purported to advise the oil importing companies, the three from the Middle East, to nominate locally companies that government purported to have interest in. And those companies, the three that William Ruto controls more than 3/4 of its shares. Indeed, as Kenyans would know, this Gulf Energy is the company that bought out the British consortium that was dealing with the Turkana oil. And therefore, it is no wonder that we have never seen a reduction in the fuel prices because William Ruto is right in the middle. On the Kenyan side, he is the G. William Ruto to now cease this arrangement, and that's why we are saying Parliament should actually be the one in the forefront to call for scrapping of this so-called G2G arrangement, so as to who is going to get the effects of this astronomical and abnormal increase in fuel prices. Thank you.
Thank you.
In addition to what my colleagues have said, the 3 points that need to be made in addition to what we have said in the statement, the lengthy and detailed statement we have put out, is that one, a lot of information on this matter has come to us, the leaders of the opposition, in the public and private sector, who are not just alarmed, but generally deeply frustrated by the way this administration is managing our country. I stop to ask the question all the time, in this era of information, it cannot be that the government and its leaders are doing this in the hope that the public will not know. That they are doing so blatantly, deliberately, and they actually don't care about the law, they don't care about the stability of the country, and they don't care about the progress of the country. Two, it's astounding the level of conflict of interest involved in this matter. When you read all the documents and all to our attention, it's so abundantly clear that the president and head of state is not just an interested party in this matter, he is a practical key player in this whole matter. And our president now faced with that conflict of interest where he needs to choose between being head of state and government and therefore the custodian of the welfare of the people of Kenya, and the businessman and the practitioner that he is in the business environment. Because the leader of our nation is a predatory competitor, and he can't hold that position of competitor and regulator at the same time, because obviously you can see it's untold pain and suffering of our people. Lastly, I hate to say this, I always hope I'm wrong on some of these things, because just 4 years ago, before we left the government, we warned the country about a number of these things. I was in the previous administration when we saw some of these things, and pointed out that these our friends do not have the capacity to be fair arbitrators and leaders of a great nation such as ours. In my view, and we've discussed this matter considerably, if this issue is not dealt with, this matter of oil, I think we haven't seen the worst yet in terms of the direction our economy is going to take and some of the things that are going to happen. So when we say publicly that our country is going the wrong direction, we do so because we love our country, we are patriotic, we are responsible people, and we have a moral duty to point out to our fellow citizens when we just need to make that painful decision. Are they going to be leaders, regulators, managers of the affairs of our country and therefore the custodians of our people's welfare? Or they are going to be private business people doing business? If you sat down with Kenya Private Sector Alliance, the Kenya Association of Manufacturers, and all these private sector people working in our country and investing, working very hard in our country, some of them in low tones, some of them in extreme frustrations of the things that happen, give you evidence that our country is headed the wrong direction. And we are asking these questions not because we are negative about these things, but because we are also alarmed at all these things that are available. And we want to, lastly, on behalf of my colleagues, thank the Kenyans who have given us this information. Who spoke, my three colleagues who spoke before me, Honorable Gachagua, Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka, and Honorable Muturi. All this information that we have, a lot of it every day is coming to us from Kenyans who are very concerned. We thank them. We want them to know that we appreciate their force. Please give us more information on this, because we have been taken through this oil business by government officers and public officers who are willing to share information, who are equally concerned and very, very frustrated by the way the affairs of our country are being run. We will work with them. And my last point is to assure them that equal partners, we are also hopeful about our country, and we are asking them not to lose hope even as they find themselves in those circumstances. Help is on the way. We are turning the corner soon. We will turn the leaf soon, and we will continue a country because we believe our beloved country, Kenya, is better. We are better than this. Thank you.
Well done.
Asanteni sana. Nafikiri wenzangu wameongea Kiingereza mingi, wacha nijaribu lugha ya taifa. Na niseme ya kwamba Wakenya wenzangu, jana shirika la April limetangaza kuongezeka kwa bei ya mafuta. Kienda kwenye station yoyote kufika sasa, mafuta ya petroli yako zaidi ya shilingi 200 na vile vile ya diesel. Na hili ni jambo litaumiza wananchi sana, haswa wakulima wengi ambao walikuwa bado wako mashambani. Diesel imekuwa bei ya juu sana, na inamaanisha hata yule mkulima pale kwenye shamba, kuanzia leo mambo yatakuwa magumu. Hata wale walio katika uchukuzi, hata vijana wetu wa bodaboda, petroli itapanda, na hiyo inamaanisha nauli itapanda kutoka kwa yule mwana bodaboda, yule matatu, ile bus, na popote unapoenda. Sasa gharama ya maisha zaidi ya shilingi 200 bei ya mafuta. Ilikuwa wakati wa maandamano ya kwanza, wakati tulikuwa ya serikali ya Kenya Kwanza, na hiyo ndio ili double mambo ya VAT, ushuru kwa mafuta ya VAT on fuel every liter. Hapo ndio ilifanya gharama ya maisha ikaongezeka sana, kukawa na maandamano, na baada ya maandamano tukaulizwa twende kwa mazungumzo kule kwenye Bomas. Tuliongoza Mheshimiwa Kalonzo Musyoka kule kwenye Bomas, timu yetu ya Azimio, na kati ya yale tuliambia serikali hii ni kwamba Bwana Zakayo, shukisha ushuru. Ushuru wa kwanza shukisha kwa mafuta. Pale Uhuru Kenyatta aliwacha kwa serikali, na ilikuwa kwa hiyo serikali wa Matiang'i hapa, ilikuwa pressure nyingi sana VAT ipite 8%, lakini Uhuru Kenyatta alizuia, akasema ikipita hapo wananchi wataumia. Na hiyo ndio ilifanya lita ya mafuta wakati Uhuru anaondoka, wenzangu mtakumbuka, ilikuwa shilingi 159, 159 per liter. Lakini baada ya hiyo Finance Bill 2023 bei ikaongezeka, kawa na maandamano. Kwenye Bomas tulikuwa na Mheshimiwa Kalonzo, tukawa na Mheshimiwa Opiyo Wandayi na wenzetu wengine ambao tulifanya kazi nao. Leo nataka niukumbushe ndugu Wandayi ya kwamba tulitumwa Bomas ili tushukishe ushuru kwa mafuta. Kulikuwa na ushuru mara levies and taxes on fuel rudishwe 8%. Wenzetu wa Kenya Kwanza walikataa. Na wakati tunamaliza mazungumzo hayo, bado waliongeza tena mambo ya fuel levy kutoka shilingi 18 hadi 25. Na hiyo ndio sababu leo tumeambia Bwana Zakayo, sababu bado wako juu mtini, ya kwamba aanze kwa kushukisha ule ushuru aliongeza akichukua ushukani baada ya Uhuru Kenyatta. Aanze na hiyo shilingi 7 kwa kila lita. Hiyo ikishukishwa, Wakenya wataanza kuona nafuu kidogo katika mambo ya mafuta. Pili, ushuru wa VAT kwa mafuta, huo ukiondolewa, hii bei itarudi chini ya 200. Na hiyo itasaidia kila mwananchi wa Kenya popote ulipo katika. Hiyo ndio jambo tumesema leo tukutane hapa na tuseme we must demand that this be done immediately, na bunge liwe na kikao rasmi kuzungumzia hili kaza kila mwananchi wa taifa letu. Shida ambayo ilikuweko tena kule Bomas, kulikuwa na hii mpango wa G2G, wakati huo ndio ulikuwa unaanzishwa, na tuliambiwa dola imekuwa mbaya, sasa lazima tufanye negotiation na wenzetu Warabuni so that we stabilize. Na hata baada hiyo vita ya Ukraine na Russia, mambo kuwa kurudi normal na vile vile dola yetu kuweza kustabilize, G2G hiyo ilitaka, alafu tukasikia imekuwa extended hadi December. Sasa tuambiwa hii G2G imekuwa extended hadi September mwaka ujao. Hiyo inamaanisha ya kwamba hii bei itabaki ama itaongezeka, lakini haitaenda chini, sababu ya hii deal ambayo Kenyans are locked in. Msipende, leo tumeelezwa vizuri sana kwenye statement yetu, tumeelezwa wa Kenya mwenye G2G wakati wa Bomas, na nilikuwa kati ya wale tuliangalia mambo hayo, na wakati walikataa kushukisha ushuru, nilikuwa kati ya wale nilikataa kuweka sahihi mkataba huo, sababu walikuwa na uwezo wa kushukisha ushuru wakati wa finance bill ya kwanza, lakini wakaongeza hata finance bill ya 2024 ikawa mbaya zaidi. Mzigo huo ulirudi kwa mwananchi, na ndio sababu vijana wetu wa Gen Z walijitokeza kupinga finance bill 2024. Kama tungefanya the right thing at Bomas in 2023, tutoe hiyo ushuru, tuachane na hii mpango wa G2G, vijana wetu wale walikufa 2023 75 hawangekufa. Vijana wa Gen Z waliokufa 63 2024 wakipinga ushuru huu hawangekufa. Leo tuwasema wakati umefika, Bwana Ruto, ufanye kile ambacho Wakenya wanakuomba sasa, utoe hiyo ushuru. Lakini zaidi hiyo G2G wakati wa Bomas, when we challenged it, tulisema haikuwa G2G wakati huo, and on record kule Bomas katika Hansard iliyowekwa, sababu kulikuwa na Hansard ya bunge ya kwamba to gangsters. Upande wa Warabuni ilikuwa ni serikali, mashirika wameambiwa na aliyekuwa Attorney General ya serikali, lakini upande wetu tukatoa mashirika ya serikali, tukaweka kampuni zetu za kibinafsi. So it was government to gangsters. Na ile faida ambayo hawa wametengeza, vile Mheshimiwa Gachagua amesema hapa, it's obscene, it's immoral, ya kwamba rais wa nchi anaweza tumia shida kupata faida na kujifaidi yeye mwenyewe na wenzake, wanabiashara wenzake, na ni mabilioni ya pesa ametengeneza. Yale yanaendelea Kenya ni kama yale Shakespeare alisema, merchants of Venice, ambayo wamechukua profiteers instead of patriots who are leading our country. Wachache wanajivunia kuwa Wakenya wakitengeza pesa nyingi sana kwa kila lita ya mafuta. Wengi wakiwemo mama mboga na bodaboda waliokuwa at the bottom of the pyramid, ambao walitakiwa waletwe up, hao ndio wanafinywa sana na wanavumilia kuwa Wakenya. Hiyo G2G tunataka tuseme ya kwamba it must be scrapped, sababu imekuwa source of the pockets. Pesa mfukoni hii kwenda kwa mwananchi, imeenda kwa Bwana Ruto na wenzake. Na leo tunataka tuseme ya kwamba wakati umefika tuanze kujiuliza, je, tunaweza endelea kuwa na rais ambaye ni mwanabiashara, ambaye atumia ofisi yake kujifaidi mwenyewe na marafiki zake? Wakati amemaliza mwaka wa kwanza, orodha ya kwanza ambayo ilitoka, and this was global ranking of the most corrupt presidents of the world, aliorodheshwa kuwa nambari 2 nyuma ya Assad wa Syria. Mwaka jana wakati orodha imetoka ya kuangalia marais tajiri sana, amekuwa katika the first 11 of the richest presidents in the world, akiwemo na maoligarch kama Putin wa Russia. William Ruto ako kwa hiyo orodha. Uko kwa sekta zote. Ukienda kwa sekta ya banking, ako kule. Hii banki inaitwa Sidian. Ukienda upande wa mambo ya hoteli, hospitality, mahoteli ya Weston, hata kuna moja kule Masai Mara, the Carl Ritz Hotel, Ritz Carlton. Tumeelezwa katika mambo ya manufacturing, steel na rafiki yake Devki, chuma zote za affordable housing, simiti yote ako kwa manufacturing. Tukienda kwa sekta ya kawi sasa, ndio tunaguza G2G hii. Sio tu hiyo Gulf kampuni ile mnasikia Starbucks, he has interest there. Tukienda kwa mambo ya hospitali, kuna hospitali inaitwa Real na tulio there. Kwa mambo ya SHA, ni biashara vikubwa sana anafanya kule kwenye SHA. Na katika sekta ya afya, katika sekta ya uchukuzi, starting na aviation, ndege zake sio tu helicopter ambazo anakodisha hata serikali, lakini haki zake zenyewe zinakuwa hard na KQ. Ni mwanabiashara mkubwa sana hata angani, sio tu hapa chini ardhini katika Kenya. Ni jamaa wa majuu sana. Tukienda kwa elimu, anaanzisha university kule Eldoret, sisi sote tunajua. He's in direct competition na university ya Moi inaanguka, lakini yeye anaanzisha a world class university kule. Hata biashara ya matatu, he has not spared Kenyans. Ako kule, tunajua matatu zake. Hata ukiingia kwa mambo ya sukari, amechukua kampuni zote, Zoya, Sony, Muhoroni, Miwani, mashirika yote ya kiserikali, na ekari zaidi ya 1,100. Na marafiki zake wachache wa Hindi sasa wameshika sekta ya sukari mkononi mwao, na anaanzisha yake ya kibinafsi kule Kilgoris, factory inakuja ni ya Ruto. Na kuna zingine ambazo anaendelea kufanya, na tunajua ya kwamba hata kwenye mining tunamuona kule Murima Hills, tunamuona kule West Pokot kwa simiti, hata dhahabu kule Kakamega na kwingineko. Sasa tunauliza kama Wakenya, jamani, itakuwa vipi tuwe na rais ambaye ni mwanabiashara? Kule Venice kulikuwa na mabepari wa Venice, merchants of Venice, but now we have merchants of Kenya, led by none other than William Ruto. In fact, for me, I would tell my colleagues, we should not just be asking the PS to resign over this scandal as small fish. We should not just be asking Opiyo Wandayi, we should be asking William Ruto himself. You are conflicted, Mr. President. You are a merchant, you are a profiteer, you are not a patriot. And this goes on even in the region beyond our country. Your gold in the DRC and diamonds, the blood gold and with Sudan, with RSF. How much is enough for you, Mr. President? Thank you.
Hey, sasa mmeasikia na mwelewa kwa sababu gani nikasema jameni tutulize boli kwa maswali. Hata umesahau ndugu Eugene kwa upande wa media vile vile. Wenyewe, you haven't been spared. Kwa hivyo mfanyabiashara huyu sugu huyu, uongozi afanani nao. Swala hilo ni la Wakenya na sisi zote. So we want to say this is very painful, extremely painful. By his own admission, William Ruto said he's a businessman. When he was saying sijui ng'ombe ya Eugene inakufa inakupe, akasema kuna ng'ombe safi sana kwa upande wa kilimo. Ni vizuri kuwa champion na hiyo, lakini uongozi wa nchi nao unahitaji patriotism. So we are at a crossroads, and we do the best we can together. The Kenyan population, we're not going to leave you alone. We will put your best interests ahead of us. Kwa hivyo, let's keep hope alive. Asanteni sana.
Thank you.
Thank you.